Do you think where do you think adaptation falls into all this? Like I know you were mentioning how occasionally certain things get like mainstream attention more so than others. And one of the pieces that and I don't know why this got all the mainstream attention it did. I read it. I thought it was an interesting piece, was the deep adaptation piece
Mhm.
where the gentleman talked about basically how adapting is like the biggest key while still, altering our behavior completely. Like I think he called for all the same changes, but he also said we also have to adapt because we're not going to quote unquote stop climate change. The only option is adapting, and it's not an impossibility if we act.
Yeah, well, we have to accept that it's here now. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
future thing. I mean, we ask anyone in Los Angeles who was outside in that 120-degree heat, right?
No kidding.
It is here now. We're at about 1.1 degrees Celsius of warming, somewhere between 1 and 1.2 degrees, depending on sort of where you set that pre-industrial baseline, which is kind of a tricky thing to work out. But it's here. I think we already are adapting. I mean, there's been discussions about how do we do electricity in California, and should we be living in forested areas that are prone to wildfires? And I keep waiting for real estate in Miami to collapse. I don't really see them adapting a lot down there, but I don't know why anyone will buy real estate there at this point. So I think we're going to start seeing people moving away from the coasts. We're going to start seeing different crops being planted. That's adaptation, and then we're going to see kind of more and more adaptation. We need both. We need all of the above. We need mitigation and we need adaptation. And one of the things that frightens me is to get through this with any degree of grace and love and humanity, although now I'm not even sure what that word humanity means anymore. But to get through this with grace, we're going to need to fight for people we don't know. We're going to need to come together. We're going to need empathy. We're going to have to stop with this nonsense of like, I just care about me, right? And I don't care about anyone else, which is, this kind of, I think American individualism has kind of gotten warped into that direction in an unfortunate way. But what concerns me is that we could very well head in the opposite direction as resources become more scarce, as people start to try to move toward the poles because it's just too damn hot and they can't grow food anymore, and their water systems are failing and their bodies are going into heat stroke, right? They're going to start moving toward the poles, which means, the United States will start getting more and more migrants coming up through the southern border. Canada is going to start to see more people starting to come up. Similar thing in Europe, in Asia. And, I think that could very well lead to more people saying, like, getting afraid, saying we don't have enough, we can't share, and we want to put up more walls, we want more military. And it could get real ugly. I don't know how to fight against that. But I think this is just a weird, frightening place for humanity to be at right now. And, I desperately hope that we can find our better selves and, be courageous, not roll ourselves into little frightened balls that, buy up guns and just, it just could get so bad. And I'd love to, I got 2 kids, and I don't want them to ever get shot at. I don't want them to ever have to shoot at anyone. I want them always to have enough food. And I want that for everyone on this planet, even people in other nations. And, I'm seeing authoritarianism rise throughout the world. And I haven't read a lot of studies that, necessarily connect that to global heating. But it feels to me, my instinct is that there is a connection there. And there are a lot of studies that show just, when cities have heat waves, violent crime goes up. People go insane when things get too hot. I think there's literally physiological changes to the brain that increase violent tendencies. And I don't know what else to say. This to me, this is a real, this is a, this might be the most important moment that our species has ever confronted. It could well be, because you know, we just have to. We've been taking this planet for granted. This culture, this colonial extractivist culture, which has been dominant for the last few hundred years, has been taking natural resources for granted, thinking like we can just take what we want and, you know, kill other species and use them for our purposes and extract labor from people that don't look like us. And it's, to me, it's insanity, and it hurts so much to see this. And it's like, how do we wake up out of this? I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's like a spiritual awakening, really, that has to happen. And it's a pretty heavy lift.
Yeah, indeed.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together